Hey everybody, it's Captain Lewis Belmont, and what we're doing right now is talking about the difference between getting ready for a practice and planning for a practice and planning for an event. My team, Proving Grounds Evolve, we're going to have a practice coming up sometime this month. We do this thing called team paint, which is when everyone goes together, y'all sign up on a tab, and you get however many cases of paint you need over the course of the day, and everybody shares it. You don't have to worry about whose paint is whose, you don't have to worry about whose pod that is, or whose paint that is, or whatever. You have team pods, and you have team paint, and you share it all, and at the end of the day, you check on the tab, and you divide it up between everybody, so that your back players aren't paying 3 times as much as your front guys. Well, I'm not sure if we're doing that this time coming up, but I know that the last time that we did that, it came out to $55 because some people decided, oh, let's shoot some evil, and I don't really see the point of that when you're playing in practices, but whatever. And then there was everybody wanted to play with higher grade paint, and there were people shooting a shit ton of paint. So honestly, if you can, I just opted out of that one because I had a case and a half in the basement that I wanted to use, and I didn't want to throw it in the pile. I had saved that, and I knew that I was going to use that for a practice, or maybe even 2. And I have what would still be an entire full pack in my basement. I have 7 pods and about probably another hopper. I probably have 7 pods and a hopper's worth of paint downstairs, plus a bag for drills that I would never use in a game. So I was thinking about this, and it can completely fuck you over, the whole system. So you have to decide for yourself as to what you're going to do when it comes to practices. If you want to just buy a case, and usually what you should do if you're going to practice is set a cap for yourself. If you don't have a team paint system, set some sort of limit for yourself. And even if you're on a team paint system, you should probably set that with your team, as that this is how much paint we will go through over the course of the day. If you know that there are $40 cases of paint, and there are 12 of you, and you're like, okay, let's assume that everybody's going to shoot a case of paint. Most people don't, so let's say 12 cases, you divide that up, fine. Everybody pays $40. If that's the limit, fine. Say you don't actually go through that much, everyone's paying less than a case. Great. So I mean, you should set a cap for yourself when you go into practice so that you know how much you will spend, and hopefully you won't. But what happens with me a lot is I'll have paint left over. So if I have 2 pods left over and half a hopper one day, and then I go to the next practice and I have 2 pods and a hopper left over that next day, and then I go to another one and there's 2 pods and a hopper left over. Okay, fine. I have about 9 pods worth now that I just have. Because, I mean, if that pattern keeps up, even if you use that much, you're going to end up with that much left over if you use, the same amount every day, which you don't, I know, but I'm just trying to give an example. You sort of let that accumulate, and now you have a free day of paintball, especially if you're, sponsored by your field. So that's what I do. I am a paint whore. I will admit that freely. I'm that guy who goes onto the field and tries to pick up as many clean paintballs as he can from behind the bunker where he had spilled his paint when he was trying to load. Does it work usually? No. Can you do that every time? No. I'm not saying you should, because that is literally penny pinching. But what you can do is try and make it all count. What I will never do, what I just don't do it, is give away paint. If I have a bag left over at the end of the day, I don't say, hey, who wants a bag? That's just not me. And, because I know that that's a bag that I could use at some later point. Because that's it. I mean, if your field is field paint only even, save it. Because who knows, maybe you'll have the same amount left over the next time, you'll be able to gather that all up, and you can make that last today. You just can. You really can. So that's how you do that for practices. Be a paint whore. in practices. Definitely do that. Stock up as much paint as you can. Try and give yourself a couple of bucks padding, so that if you do spend that much, you're not shocked. But if you don't spend that much, you're happy and pleasantly surprised. Because that is the best feeling to have in regards to paintball. When you don't spend as much money as you think you will, it's a good feeling. In regards to events, plan up. Round up. If you know that entry is going to cost $50 or something like that per person, something like that, whatever, take that and assume that over the course of the event, you will shoot like 3 cases on your own. Or assume that the tab is going to be ridiculously high because no one plays low paint at events. You just will not see it because everyone comes to event stocked. You will save your money for events because you will find a way to burn it all there. Okay, that's the way it is. So my team, PG Evolve, we're going to be playing in the MSXL event that's coming to our field late in July. We know that we can get pretty cheap Evil, so we're probably going to do that because it's a legit tournament and we really want to be able to actually perform, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go in on some Evil, and so probably over the course of the day, the tab, we're going to probably go through, I don't know, 15, 16 cases of paint. We're going to be shooting liberally, especially since you're going to be playing on ramp. There's a difference between playing on semi and playing on ramp, especially PSP. If you're shooting 12.5 balls a second, every second that you're shooting, say a paintball is 3.5 cents. If you're playing with, I could probably do some quick math, figure out however much it would cost for 1 paintball of Evil, whatever. But say it's 3.5 cents. If you're shooting 12.5 balls a second, you're looking at whatever, that's just like 50 cents for like 2 seconds. You know? So I mean in 4 seconds you've just gone through $1. In 12 seconds that's $3. This is racking up pretty quick. So I mean if you're looking at it that way, always plan ahead. You do not want to be the guy who's doing the little 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 at an actual event because the other guys won't be. Always plan to have extra money at the tournament because Murphy's a bitch. Okay? Murphy knows. If anything will go wrong, if anything can go wrong, it will. So you know what? Say you have some crazy snafu, something goes wrong with your gun. Something goes wrong with your gun. You need to go find a tech. You go find a guy who can tech your gun, and he says, okay, he fixes it in whatever, 5 seconds. And then he says, okay, $50. You don't want to have to cough up all your paint money for that. So what you want to do is bring like $30 extra, so that when you have that kind of thing happen, you'll have whatever, maybe something, a little bit will come out of your, well, not even $30. I would bring like as much as you can. Just as much as you can, because in case something happens, you don't want to be the guy who comes up short and fucks everything up. Okay? So if it's whatever, $50 for a tech and that happens, I don't know how much a tech costs. I've never had to have that. But say some crazy asshole does that. And you brought $120 because you thought, okay, the tab can't possibly go over $90, and you know it's $30 for entry or whatever. Then you just dropped $50. Now you're playing on $30 worth of paint for the whole day. Shit. And you're in trouble. You don't want to be that guy. Okay, that's all there is to it. You don't want to be that guy. Always bring extra for an event. That's just called being safe. Bring extra batteries, bring extra squeegees, bring extra everything that you've got. Bring extra everything, because if anything can go wrong, it will. Okay? That's just the way it is. That's the way it always has been. So, if you're going to a tournament, be prepared. That's the best thing you can be. So, in regards to paint at events, plan to buy an extra case. If you think you'll shoot 3, bring enough money for 4. If you think you'll shoot 4, bring enough money for 5. If you think your team of 10 guys will shoot 17 cases of paint, bring enough that you would be able to cover it if it goes up to 20. That's just the best way to go through life. Just be over-prepared so that when it doesn't hit that expectation that you had set for yourself, you're pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised is a very nice way to go through life. So that's my little tip on how best to prepare for events. Keep the two separate, because maybe if you are enough of a paint whore at practice, you'll have some extra cash that you can bring to events, and that you won't be in such a pinch. So the two sort of feed off of each other. It's a very positive cycle kind of thing. So that's Captain Lewis Belmont for today. I'll see you all later. Subscribe, comment, like this video, all that shit. You know the drill. Alright, thanks guys. See you later.